I started making these videos because I am concerned about the convicted felon who's in charge of the country right now and supports a platform of vengeance and white Christian nationalism. And that led me to start poking around some uncomfortable corners of American history. When you start tugging on the thread of white supremacy, you don't have to pull very far before you come up with slavery. And then when you get to slavery, it doesn't take much more thread before you pull up a big old dose of Christianity, because Christianity and slavery were tangled up tighter than a Sunday dinner prayer circle. Let's talk about how deep that connection went. Some churches didn't just tolerate slavery, they built their entire denomination around it. Take the Southern Baptist Convention. Bingo. That wasn't just an accidental offshoot that happened to support Christianity. It was founded in 1845 because white Baptists in the South were furious that the Baptist leadership wouldn't let slaveholders serve as missionaries. Yes, really. They wanted to send out people who owned other human beings to spread the message of Jesus. And when the National Board said, no thanks, that's a really bad look, the Southern folks said, okay, fine, we'll make our own church. One where slavery is just good old-fashioned Christian living. The SBC was created because they wanted slaveholders to preach the gospel. That wasn't a side issue. That was the issue. Then you've got the Methodists. In 1844, they split up too because of a dude named Bishop James O. Andrew. He owned slaves. The Northern Methodists told him to knock it off. The Southern ones said, well, that's just how things are done down here. So the Southern ones peeled off and formed the Methodist Episcopal Church South. Nothing says Christ-like compassion like clinging to chattel slavery. And then we can't skip the Presbyterians. When the South seceded in 1861, the Southern Presbyterians also bailed from their main denomination. They created the Presbyterian Church in the Confederate States, and they weren't shy about it. They published sermons declaring that slavery was ordained by God, good for the enslaved, and essential for maintaining order. Because apparently Jesus loves the little children, but only if they know their place. So the next time somebody tells you Christianity shapes this country, maybe you need to ask them which version they mean, the one that preached love and liberation or the one that built pulpits on the backs of the enslaved.
Get curious. Oh,
bingo.
I love that. I love that. And see, there's so much people don't know. They don't know where did the Southern Baptists come from. They don't know why the Presbyterians split. They don't know why is there Methodist, CME, AME, African Methodist, CME, which used to be colored Methodist, but I guess now it's Christian Methodist. Why all these splits? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many of these denominations were born literally on the back of slavery and trying to keep it going, but trying to keep God wrapped around in the Bible.
Yeah, it's been really eye-opening to me as well. It was just like, I knew that I didn't want to be part of it, but I didn't know how much I was glad to not be part of it anymore until I really started digging just this year and finding out, some things I knew a little about, but many things I didn't have a very deep understanding of like this. And wow, there's more that I haven't done videos on. I've got a really long list of videos that I still plan to do. So.
Yeah, that was just a few minutes. In those few minutes, you exposed at least 4 major denominations in the United States who had a major split based on slavery. Why can't we serve God and own people? We don't like that. We're gonna go over here and create this other community where our God is okay with us owning people and raping them and beating them and buying them and selling them. Our God is all right with that. So we're going to go over here.
Yeah.
Dillon, he has some history with that whole conversation, especially with the Southern Baptists.
Yeah. My first wife went to Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and I grew up splitting time between the Church of Christ of my grandparents and then the Baptist church in the town Blue Ridge, where I ended up moving to just before I turned 12. And I asked Karen one time, why was it called Southern Baptist? Did that have anything to do with slavery and the Civil War? And this was a seminary graduate of a Southern Baptist seminary, and she said no. And I think that she genuinely didn't know that. So I don't know how you go to a seminary for 2 years, and then before that, she went to Oklahoma Baptist University, and that was never a topic that came up. And that tells me that they were still cool with it. And now the Southern Baptists have ostensibly apologized for slavery, and yet so many of the Christian nationalists in America today are Southern Baptist.
They really are. Yeah.
And they like Mike Johnson. And
there's a reason for that. Like you said,
Mike Johnson's racist. He can pretend he ain't because he had that black kid living with him or whatever, but proximity does not mean to people of color does not make you not racist. You know who else had proximity to people of color? The enslaving class.
Yeah.
And they raped their female enslaved people and created more people of color who were enslaved. And they were still white supremacists.
Sold some of them off as sex slaves for weird rich guys. Yeah. And they're little girls as young as 10 years old. Yeah.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
It's appalling.
And now we have a president who wants to go through all the museums and erase that because it wasn't as bad as we say. And we want to make America great again.
And what about all the progress we've made?
And he won't release the Epstein files. He won't even release the Epstein files because he's going to be in there quite a bit.